Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Union Settlement Cup. I'm Alpha Ferg, and I'm going to be bringing you today GoSuTimbo versus Pindar. I'm very excited. This is going to be in the executives. Woohoo! And my keyboards work. So here we go into the game. It's going to be a PvP, actually. So this is going to be the first PvP. GoSuTimbo and Pindar are two of only three Protosses in the tournament, actually. So this should be very exciting. PvPs are going to be very rare in the Union Settlement Cup, so hopefully this one's very good. Of course, Pindar is the older fellow who's been playing just get his mind off, get his break in, and GoSuTimbo down here is working for It's Gosu as a writer and photographer. He was working very hard at MLG Anaheim, so it's a pleasure to meet him, and I'm hoping that these games go pretty well, man. Let's see what's going on. PvP, of course, is very volatile. Both these players focusing on getting those probes and pylons, which are oh so exciting, and I just realized my mic was not quite set up. So hopefully this all sounds fine. Should be normal now. Holy Early Scout, Batman. Yes, Pindar is being invaded by the blue, or the red, I should say, Joker Mobile, man. This is what you get when you scout early. Woohoo! Alright, so what's going on? The first gateway's out for GoSuTimbo, and it looks like GoSuTimbo, what is he doing? Oh, it's just a miss rally. That poor probe is trying to fly out here into space and it just can't do it, man. It looks like the first assimilator's down as well. GoSuTimbo's actually he's just falling behind. He just doesn't quite have. He has the APM, but he doesn't have quite the right timings. He's just behind in pretty much everything he's trying to build. So there's his assimilator. It's delayed. His probes are delayed. His gateway is about 20 seconds behind. So that kind of delay actually makes a huge difference, because 20 seconds turns into a later cyber core, turns into a later warp gate. And PvP, man, every warp gate cycle is very important. If that turns into a difference, look, Pindar is very good with his timing. There's a cyber core, so let's see. It's already up to 10 seconds. So Pindar has a 10-second lead in that regard. Both players are still staying even. GoSuTimbo is actually ahead by one probe, but in response, Pindar is getting out this Zealot a little bit earlier, trying to kill the scout. Both players scouting around the main. It looks like GoSuTimbo lost a few minerals there to this one probe, but that's going to be okay. That kind of stuff doesn't have too much of an effect on the game until the very, very end game, when every single mineral counts and you've mined out the entire map. But hopefully this is a PvP. We don't get to see that. That would take about an hour and a half. And I don't know if I can cast for an hour and a half. Actually, I have work in an hour and a half. So hopefully this isn't too long of a game, but you know what? It's going to be good because both players are one-basing pretty hard right now. And we'll kind of see how they elect to go. It looks like both players are now getting out Stalkers. Warp Gate is actually very even right now. GoSuTimbo has caught up by paying attention to continue to do stuff, and he's also using Chrono Boost, which definitely helps in that regard. And both players are also getting second gases. Yeah. So, taking a look at the supply, Pindar is ahead. He does have more army. He has this Zealot. Let's take a look at the actual unit count. Yeah, and he has a lot more probes. And he's throwing down a Robo with that second 100 gas. Or I should say second 100 gas after 150 for Warp Gate. Excuse me, allergies acting up a bit. My cat is very annoying. Anyways, GoSuTimbo looks like he is going to be focusing more on gateways. So it's going to be a 1-gate, 1 Robo right now against a 3-gate. But Pindar does have a greater army count at the moment, so he'll be fairly safe against any sort of push, and it looks like GoSuTimbo is focusing on defending. Actually, both players are. They're building sentries, and it's not typical to try to push with a sentry, especially in PvP. In ZVZ, it can happen with kind of a sentry Zealot mix-up, but you know what? In PvP, those sentries just don't do very much damage to the other units. Here we're getting out our first Observer, going to be very useful. There's no Twilight Council on the field for Pindar, so it's not going to be like a blink timing using that Observer to get vision of the upper ground here. You can just blink in and do a lot of damage. Not going to happen. GoSuTimbo here is pushing in with 2 of his stalkers, but he's just going to pull back. He sees that there's no expansion, and he's going to feel very comfortable not trying to force his hand. Looks like the observer's now out on the map. Actually, no, that's a probe, but this observer is out on the map. It's just not moving very fast, and that's okay. And it looks like Pindar is following that up with more observers, and actually Pindar is getting very ahead in the probe count. GoSuTimbo just kind of cut back, and he's not having the mineral income that you'd really want at this point in the game, and now he's trying to get more probes, but he's just not focusing very hard. He's getting a lot more units out. In fact, his unit count is much superior, but if an immortal comes out or anything like that, it looks like double observers here, and this observer is going to be in the main very soon. It looks like before this observer will be able to get out, so it's going to be a full base scouting. The full base is going to get scouted. If Pindar turns around, did he see the robo facility? He definitely did. With an earlier scout or something, but you know what? There's the immortal coming out for Pindar, and that's going to be just so strong. It has so much life, and it does so much damage to the stalkers, and this is, you know, a very heavy stalker count. He did get a Twilight Council, and he is chrono boosting out Blink, so this robo facility is going to be for observers, so you can do warp in. I actually don't really like that. This map is not very useful. I think you can blink across this gap, but that's about it. You can get vision on the high ground and warp into, and blink in, sorry, to kill these immortals or Colossi if they come out, but you know what? It's not going to be that useful because he's just not ahead in supply. In fact, he's about 20 supply behind. So Pindar is pulling farther and farther ahead right now. This supply lead in for the supply lead in the harvester count is just going to be so much greater for Pindar. It looks like GoSuTimbo is trying to expand right now, but he hasn't even maxed out this mining base, and he, you know, Pindar is going to immediately scout it. He's got the observer right here, so he's going to know everything that's going on. And here's the observer for Pindar, but there's no stalker, so it's not going to be quite aggressive now. This observer is going to get scouted. You can see it. He's going to kill it. Toads killed it. Alright. But both players lost an observer there, and Pindar should be trying to expand right now. He knows there's a Nexus down, unless he's going to do a one-base all-in. In fact, I'm going to say he's trying to do a one-base all-in. This is a robo facility right here. He has a 33 supply lead right now. He's moving out with 2 immortals. He's moving out with a lot of units, stalkers. There's no upgrades right now on the map for either player. But GoSuTimbo is trying to get Colossus, and if this push is delayed until Colossus, the Colossus can help hold this base. They can definitely give him the lead, but he is still 35 supply behind. And Pindar may be trying to expand right now, but you know what? He needs to push. He can win. This observer is going to fall to the ground. GoSuTimbo is not ahead at all, but if he can just delay until he gets this Colossus count up, he can get 3 or 4 with that extended thermal lance. It'll do so much damage, and the unfortunate thing is GoSuTimbo really does not have the gas income to do that. You definitely want to try to be on 2 base or just not spending gas on 1 base until you can get those Colossus numbers out. He does have Blink, though. He does have this finish, so will he build? It looks like he's throwing down another Immortal. Actually, what's coming out next? It looks like nothing yet. But Pindar is just sitting here, man. You got to get in there, and there's a Warp Prism heading right towards his mineral line. There's nothing in it, so it's going to have to warp in units. And in fact, here is the initial warp in 2 Zealots. So he's definitely going to try to harass with these 2 units, but Pindar is not moving right now. He's still 40 supply ahead, 30 supply ahead. So, no, 40 supply ahead. I can count. I can do subtraction in my brain. But here comes the 3 Zealot push, and at the exact same time Pindar is moving out of his base. This couldn't have been worse for him, and he is going to have to get some units out right now. There are the Stalkers, but they're being immediately killed. Oh no, he's not controlling very well at all. This is not looking good. Losing that first Stalker. There are 6 Zealots in the base. GoSuTimbo is just going to back off, and these probes did not fall. But this kind of stuff will just delay the pushes. You can see Pindar's army is being forced back into his base, and GoSuTimbo is starting to count up into the supply lead. You see he's closed the gap quite significantly, and his first Colossus is coming out. He's going to have a lot of gas to get this extended thermal lance very shortly. Looks like some more harass here, but Pindar with his entire army in his main is going to be able to defend it very well. Pindar is setting up to do a push, though. And if he can manage to push and do some damage, it looks like he's starting to maybe try to get upgrades, and maybe, you know, a smart thing would just be put a Colossus, just put a, not a Colossus, put a cannon down there so you can defend your mineral and you don't have to pull back with your whole army, because his army supply is still way ahead, man. 14 Stalkers to 6, 4 Immortals to 2, 13 Zealots to 5. This army is huge, but it's not moving fast enough, and he's trying to take down the War Prism. He's taking it down to half health. He's starting to kill the life of it. It only has a quarter life left. He doesn't have Blink, so he's trying to chase it. There's 18 health left. Oh, he has to unload the Zealots, and these Zealots are not going to be long for this world. There is a Colossus out, and there is the first force field. And this army is going to start pushing in here. Looks like some Zealots in the background trying to move in. Zealots are getting through the Warp Prism. The force fields have fallen, but another few force fields coming down here. The army is falling for GoSuTimbo, but Pindar is continuing to push. He's taking a lot of damage, but you know what? He's keeping even. This Colossus is starting to be chased by these Zealots. There's not many units left for GoSuTimbo. Pindar is starting to do the damage he needs to. He's getting into the natural, and he's going to be able to knock out this Colossus. The Colossus falls. There's only 2 Zealots left. And that's going to be about it. GoSuTimbo calls it the GG. Pindar just used some superior macro in the beginning of the game to take out poor GoSuTimbo, man. That's it. This is Alfred. You've been watching